this.
Yeah, you're right.
I prefer a bit more neutrality on the cast. If
okay, sorry. I'll try my best. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, getting some pretty staple bans coming out. The Vi tied highest ban rate in the LCK so far, close to the one that's closest. Rumble ban coming through. Obviously, I think a big talk in these early bans has been the top laners we have right now. The big four being Jace, Rumble, Ambessa, and Gwen. Rumble, the only one taken off the cards now. Obviously, Poppy then going to get taken away as well, so that can flex between jungle and support and even top. I mean, we did just see Cassante. Actually, I think he's going to get buffed next patch, not this patch, but yeah, Jace ban, Rumble ban, you just take the Gwen. What are you going to pick into this now? Because that's not a fun time.
I mean, this is now both Rumble and Jace, as you mentioned, are banned. Their final ban was Jace. But if you leave Jace available, then you just get first pick Jace on, right? Yeah. So I feel like there was a little bit of an issue prior to the Jace ban, but now they're really not in a good spot as Keen is playing Gwen,
I think
who did receive a little nerf.
Yeah, tiny nerf. I think you have to go as is in Zhao here. They have to go for the Sejuani instead. Obviously, Sejuani does pair well with the Gwen, but now you get Gwen's in Zhao, which is a pretty nasty combo to deal with.
The circles.
They're instead looking towards the Neferi.
They want to add an extra dog on the Rift because Bulldog isn't here.
Ah, yes, compensating for the lack of dog with their own dog. Yes. They are the overdogs in this matchup, so important to note. Neferi going to get locked in, so good amount of AD damage coming from the jungle, balanced out by these AP solo laners. Not fun to play into, generally. A lot of damage already picked up by Gen.G. And likely going to see top lane picked in here just to match this. Nothing really does fantastically into the Gwen. Ambessa is the last of those big four, but I think the problem is he's struggled into Gwen. We've seen a lot of scenarios where she's been struggling in that matchup. Yep. Her win rate in general in the LCK is pretty low.
It's 23%. She's 5-16.
Well,
so far.
I think the problem is, like, the champion is strong if you get later in the game, but, like, out of the other three top laners, they all bully her. Like, the big top laners, the Rumble, the Jason, the Gwen, all bully her in lane. Yeah. Renekton also bullies her in lane, and we know LCK loves the Renekton, so I just think she has a hard time getting out of the laning phase. We're going to see that Kai'Sa band away denied from Ruler.
Yeah, I think that's fine. You know, Kai'Sa has been pretty big. We've seen a lot of Zyra Khan as well recently, just coming on through. A decent amount of Xayah in general, but maybe going to fall a little bit as the Kai'Sa won't be picked. And maybe looking for an Ezreal. Wonder what Berserker is going to be playing here. Elise also panned away.
Yeah, the 9, especially when you have counter pick on red side. I think Elise is so strong just because she provides, you know, she's just versatile in the fact that she has dive threat, she can set up plays, but also a really strong lane because she's ranged. So not wanting to get counter pick with that. We'll see what AD carry they opt to ban. They will go for the Alistar instead here, maybe setting up for a potential Rel. And Gen.G, you could ban the Rel, you could ban something like a Braum if you want to lean into something like Leona, but you know, Rakan is also available. I think you have a lot of options still in this situation. Could look to ban an AD carry. The big ones are open, like the Ezreal, the MF.
Yeah. Or maybe you want to take one of those for yourself, so you just ban a support here. The Rakan, one of the ones you mentioned, that does leave the Rel sticking out.
It's kind of a weird one because you have Talia, and that's nightmare scenario to play the Rakan into, so they end up banning it. I don't think it was really that needed. But the Ezreal comes through for Berserker. And now you have this safe sort of backline for the FREECS with the Ezreal Azir, a combo that's very hard to get onto and just kind of outrange your composition. They are looking at the potential Jhin, though, for Ruler.
MF is the classic.
Again, like, I think I prefer the Jhin. I think the problem with the MF is realistically who are you going to be able to keep accountable in your ultimate? And if you're not getting ult value, how good is your team fighting? I think the Jhin going to have a lot more value. I think as well you have like the Gwen and the Neferi who can dive in. You can follow up with the root. Now for Duro in the support role, playing into an Ezreal, not the easiest target to get on top, so potentially looking at this Nautilus. Obviously the ult, even if you can shift away, it's still going to connect. The FREECS could go the Braum here, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Braum Sejuani, really powerful duo, just that double stacking passive that do enough in their matches before despite his best efforts.
Yeah, well, he's given the Ezreal. We'll see what he can do this time around. Very curious about how the CHOVY Punyan matchup is going to go this time. As we are ready, let's hop into the rift for game number 1.
세관사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, game number 1. There's a very vocal fan for DNF saying, "You can do it."
Oh,
As Braum level 1, it's going to
does
connect.
hit. Oh, he has a new skin as well. That's peak.
All right, DNF, now's your chance. You're just getting hooked,
Oh,
and you're in the
no.
jungle. Not a level 1 death.
Oh, no, no.
Not like this. Okay, heal comes out.
I was gonna say, I do think having a level 1 strategy,
미니언들이
great idea when you're, especially when you have like a Braum on your team, Braum Ezreal, you're playing against a stronger team. You know, all those strategies that people label cheesy, I think those are the ones you want to pull out against a much stronger opponent, because that's how you catch them off guard. If you play straight up League of Legends, not gonna work. That wasn't really a level 1 strategy. That was just run at Duro and press Q twice. And fortunately, it didn't backfire enough to be super consequential, but life is now lacking that heal. So down a little bit in those summoner spells in the bot lane.
Yeah, I used to cast the game StarCraft 2. There's a lot of cheese, and whenever a weaker player would play up against a stronger player, I would say it was like a 40 to 50% chance you would see cheese. In League, we see a lot less. I feel like it's a bit harder. It's a different type of game. Nice hook here, nice trade from Duro. Doesn't seem like they'll be able to really trade back. Life getting chunked and down a heal is a bit of a problem.
One of the things with the matchup of Nautilus into Braum is that obviously if you get stuck in melee range, the Nautilus isn't going to have a good time. But if you go for short trades, you can actually be pretty impactful. You know, you land a Q and you just walk away. You know, you don't get stuck into the extended trade where you're gonna get locked down. Berserker's gonna stack up his passive. So if Duro and Ruler want to play this, it's like that. You know, short trade, play around the aftershock, and just chip away at life's life.
Yeah. What's that thing you used to tell me?
Break the wrist and walk away. You know, the classic line.
Yeah.
And you can see already, despite this being a Ezreal Braum favored lane, because of how Duro's playing it, they're actually at a HP advantage.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking good trades. Jin is under 0 threat, and now you see that Life actually leaves to put down a ward just for safety, but yeah, they're just being pushed in. It's not a very fun time.
Yeah.
Berserker already down on CS.
Interestingly, Ruler didn't opt for cleanse in this situation, which I think is a fine decision. You know, you're playing Jin. Not that many situations they should have access to CCU. But it does mean if you do get in a compromising position against, you know, a Braum Sejuani, you can be locked down pretty comfortably. And yeah, 5 loss streak for the Ambassador, and you're kind of seeing not so fun laning into Gwen in general, but the Ambassador definitely has struggles with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of our weaker teams as well are kind of leaning on it, where, you know, a couple will get banned and then they pick Gwen, and it's like, well, what are we going to pick? Well, I have, you know, 30, 50 games on Ambassa. Let me try.
Yeah.
But they're not getting wins. And neither is Sejuani, and that includes Owner, who does have a couple of losses on the pick.
You know what's crazy is that, you know, I had a 6 loss streak. I'm pretty sure the win rate of this champion was super high before that loss streak.
Yeah, must have been 6-2.
Yeah.
Now it's 6-8.
So it started really well, but it's kind of fallen off a cliff. Interestingly enough, just struggling to have the same impact. I think as well, you know, Sejuani works well paired with the right sort of champions. But I do feel like we often have this tendency just to pick it, you know. The classic is when you have all range and then like a Gnar in the top lane and you lock in Sejuani. But so far, not seeing too much attention towards the top side. We did see the Keen TP'd in and took some heavy trading, and then Dudu TP'd back. So Dudu actually has a pretty big health advantage, but is quite far behind in terms of farm.
It's a nice hook here onto Berserker, but guess who is here? It's Pioshik. He did not break the wrist and walk away. He broke the wrist and stood around us. Now we got a trade in the top lane. Keen solo killed by Dudu, and now in the bottom lane, Duro gonna be taken out by this nice gank roller. No flash, no barrier. He is dead, as that will be another couple of kills to DNF.
Oh, Berserker!
No way.
9 HP I saw him have just for a second there. Down to the wire. I'm not sure exactly. We didn't get to fully see what happened in the top side to lead to Keen being so low. You know, you saw the TP timings. It was clear that like Dudu traded heavy, and then he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah.
You saw that Dudu traded heavy, then TP back up, so he had a big health advantage, and Keen just kind of disrespected it completely. So he ends up getting solo killed, and then the bot lane. You know, we talked about Ruler not having the cleanse. We talked about the matchup and how you need to be in these short trades. I think Duro felt confident because he had a big wave, but just disrespecting the fact that the enemy jungler could be there.
Yeah, I mean, you see that he's already low in this one, and Dudu says, well, it should be kind of free. I got him, is what he says.
Yeah.
That's all he says.
It's a big, pretty uncharacteristic mistake from Keen there, if we're being honest.
I mean, we have seen our top teams disrespect some other lower ranked teams before. It has happened here at the LCK, and I think Gen G are not immune to that either.
Oh, and now this is a situation where Berserker with the extra gold has a Sheen and a Tier.
We got Needles coming out here. Looks like Dudu's okay.
Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming, I think, is what I'd say.
Pro gaming.
Top lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, pro gaming. And now looking potentially to dive Dudu. No biscuits available at the moment. And he is pretty low. This should be an easy dive to set up for Canyon if he wants to make it happen. In the meantime, do see 2 grubs picked up by DNF. Didn't get a full set, but do get the majority. And it looks like they're not going to end up going for a dive. Instead, potentially starting up this dragon.
You can start it up. You know, you took a good trade on the bottom side with Keen. You only got 1 grub, but you will get this first dragon, which is a Hex Tech. Does mean that it's not a Hex Tech soul. Will it be Chem Tech again? Which we have seen way too much of this season.
Far too many, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, there's some good Hex Tech champions, sorry, Chem Tech champions in this game, but still, we've hit our quota already.
Yeah.
If we don't get another Chem Tech soul throughout the LCK season, I'm fine with that.
It almost feels like you've kind of lost control.
A little bit.
Like, Chem Tech just has a mind of his own now.
It's become too powerful.
Doesn't really listen to you anymore.
This was going to be the plot of Season 3 of Arcane, but yeah, they kind of just wrapped everything up in Season 2.
Yeah.
The Chem Tech takeover would have been a good arc.
I miss the old Chem Tech. That was delightfully broken.
Oh, man. Don't even remember. Which, okay. Oh.
Okay, instead he's going to dash in instead of getting knocked back. Pyongyang, he will flash, but I think he just dies. Yeah, Roller just going to shoot him down. And Pyongyang not expecting the entire team to be there with the rotation coming up from Gen G's bottom lane, and he does get punished.
Sometimes it's okay just to play lane, you know? You don't have to try and look for a solo kill angle onto CHOVY. And I think regretting that window he thought he'd maybe spotted there, and does end up paying for it with his life.
But Onks, he's a challenger player.
Oh,
that's what happens in Challenger League every day.
Yeah, it's about limit testing all the time.
Yeah. It's a delightful league to watch for sure.
The delights in the LCK.
I think this is the second time I've used delightful today. I must be in a good mood. I was just really looking forward to today's games, I think.
Yep. And, you know, considering how the early game has gone pretty good for DNF, all things said, right? But still, they're not particularly far ahead in terms of gold. It's dead even. I don't think Gen G are really stressed out at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there was 3 kills, but you're losing in CS in mid, you're losing in CS in jungle, you're losing in CS in top. And
you're losing in CS in AD carry role.
You have a slight lead there, that's good.
Yeah.
Berserker's doing well. He did get that gank from Pyoshik, but it's really going to make up for a lot of the lost gold. As now we do have CHOVY and Canyon up on the top side, but Pyoshik is also here, and Dudu backs away. He's also got Flash, and he's in Bessa. So should be totally fine.
See them. Pick up the Scuttle, should be able to back away on this one. Setting up for the next grubs in a minute. Not really too much action to come from that. Duro is mid once again. Don't all in. He doesn't have ult yet, so he's not going to, you know. 10 seconds till the 0 is available.
We got Pyoshik top, but so is Canyon. They're just both backing at the same time. We're gonna stop the back.
Canyon, he just can't resist.
Yeah, I understand.
He's got to do it. sending a message, I think, is the key thing.
Yeah. We see you everywhere.
Yeah.
Even though DNF did clear to control ward.
And actually, because he applied the bleed, he got to recall quicker.
Maybe he thought about that. Maybe he was backing. He's like, you know what? If I get the bleed off, this is actually a win for me.
Yeah.
Of like 3 seconds of tempo.
Min-maxing the recall.
Yeah.
And now he actually recalled, and Pyosik didn't. He's just staying around and gonna look for these grubs.
I mean, they'll probably get them. We have Keen backing. He's got TP. The cannon on the bottom side of the map is the biggest deal. They do not have their jungler for the grubs fight. We'll take a little bit for Pyosik to start them. And Cannon's just doing the Raptors. Looks like with the pressure they have in mid lane,
Oh man, this is
just gonna back away.
This is one of these things where like Gen G aren't even in a position to contest them right now. You know, Canyon's clearing his camps, but just the potential threat means that Pyosik like instantly backs up. He's instantly wary. Now they're moving over, but you know, I think that was very much a respectful move away. And it's stuff like this that over the course of the game will just gradually allow you to pick up more farm advantages. Speaking of farm advantages, CHOVY's at 120 CS.
CHOVY is chovying really hard.
He is.
He has spent his entire game just farming and bullying Pungyan. He's very good at bullying CL players.
You know, you can just cut that sentence short. You can just say he's very good.
I could
That's
say that.
that's a whole sentence.
It's a little bit less descriptive, though.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
I think it's just very relevant. CHOVY's very good.
He's pretty good at the video game.
Yep.
And I'm sure he will prove that here as well. Keen getting in, he's got needles out. And Dudu taking a huge amount of damage, is forced to flash. But now we've got Canyon on the top side of the map. Ult available, but looks like they're not going to take the chance. No wave, and life is actually up there. So not going to force it. Going for the Seraphs first is CHOVY. Finishes that off. Well, the Archangels for now.
Yeah, we've seen.
Oh, the cannon tile.
No. Oh, that is just tragedy. Is that enough to tilt ruler? That's the question. You know,
I think DNF just win from here.
it's the winning play. A lot of one-item spikes coming in across the board, and the FREECS are really set up for this dragon. You can see CHOVY positioned. He's looking for a wall.
Yeah, I mean the wall.
Doesn't really do anything.
It's about sending a message. And there's the combo onto Light. He is going to go down. And he's basically the sacrifice as he was trying to hold the door for the rest of the team. Berserker's just here, trying to do some damage. He has this arcane shift. He's totally fine.
I think it's really important when you're playing Braum. If they're looking to engage onto you, you have to get your shield up before the initial CC hits. No doubt we'll have a replay. We can sort of talk through it, but the difference it would make if he got his shield up before all that damage isn't loaded onto him could have been, you know, him being able to W and flash out and not die there. But either way, Dragon picked up for DM FREECS. It is going to be an Infernal Soul. Pretty nice for either team. But not a Chemtech. Oh man.
If that was old Talia, he'd be at like 30% health.
You mean Talia who doesn't rush Archangels?
Yeah, but also, you know, they took a lot of bursts out of her kit a while back when she was like played every game and just played in the jungle all the time as well.
Yeah.
But that was actually the era of when people realized she should be played mid. But it was flexible, and then she got nerfed. And she's still good. Still very safe, still very good. Still bullying Pungyan, who is going top, looks like. So Pungyan's not here, they don't have TP. And CHOVY just gets a free plate and some free time with this bottom lane turret. More farm, importantly, as it is CHOVY.
He's locked into farming. I think that's the thing, is some of these champions you think about, like, these champions are still meta, still played, but they're so much weaker than they were on release. Yeah. Or, like, you know, even in their, like, prime eras. Braum is a great example. Braum, you know, there was that time where you just pick Braum every single game, no matter what. In every situation, because his passive did so much damage. It's like if you proc his passive, you just beat them down. Just smack them over the head of the door.
Yeah.
It was just disgusting. You know, you think about...
I mean, Ambessa got nerfs, right?
Yeah, Gwen.
Gwen.
Man.
Remember Viego? Not,
Oh yeah, when you get a lane Viego.
yeah, not as present nowadays, but even as recent as last year was played all the time. And
The Fury just a rare
at least
exception.
Viego was just disgusting.
The Fury a rare exception where like this is the first time she has really been meta and played in
Yeah,
Pro.
that's nice. You know, seems like they figured out how to make that work. The winning strategy.
Some were winning. We've seen some good games, less good games, you know, from the Neferi.
So we're just trading turrets.
170 CS, by the way. I mean, Berserker's not far behind in terms of, you know, the CS race. But I don't think he's going to catch up. Oh, no.
That's a stun. Dudu down to half health. He is Mbessa, so I think he's fine. But he has to run away from the turret, importantly. So it's just more damage on the turret. He's trying to clear the wave, and now he's going to be punished for it. Why did he go back in? Now he got life in here as well. He's like, here, take me too. Why not? No, not like this, Life. He is going to back away. He will be fine. He gets the door up this time. But yeah, it's just, as you mentioned before with like the very respectful Grubs take, it's just like bonus little things that are given over to great teams.
You know,
and if you give this to Gen G, they will take your game away.
You can be forgiven for eating a combo from CHOVY. You know, happens, you're low, okay. The second time you get seismic shoved, that's kind of on you. You know, that's kind of, I mean, CHOVY's good, but you shouldn't be letting that happen, okay? So, Dudu ends up going down. Some more pressure onto that bot side, and it's kind of just like split push CHOVY at the moment. And Dudu's there. He's going back in for round 2. Obviously, CHOVY will back off. Doesn't have to deal with that. But yeah, he's going to hit critical mass at some point.
Yeah, relatively soon. Doesn't have a second item yet, but he's getting close. And now DNF say, well, we're just going to take the Rift Heralds.
Are they? I feel like maybe Gen G might have posed it.
I mean, they said it.
Oh,
They said, they declared, we're going to take the Rift Herald. And I think Gen G want to say no to that, as Duro is tanking up quite a lot here. The ult goes in. A lot of damage only goes on the front line as Dudu gets in the back line, but he immediately gets traded out for the support. That's not a good trade for him. Now Canyon in with the ult, but now Gwen. There is nothing stopping him from just running at the enemy team. In goes Canyon as well, looking for a bit more. Need another shove here. Berserker doesn't seem to have his arcane shift anymore. There it is. Finally, he does come up, and he is incredibly low. But they'll just take Punyan instead, they say, as Keen does pick up the kill. And, well, the Rift Herald was taken, but it was costly.
Yeah, I feel like the initial play was actually pretty good from the DM FREECS. I feel like they handled it well. And then Dudu came in and pressed all his buttons. So initially, Duro is the one leading the charge, but he's going into a Braum Sejuani. Life gets his shield up. He gets shredded down super quick. And at this point, they can just take the Herald and back away. But Dudu's TP puts him in the middle. He kills the low health Nautilus, but doesn't really do much else. And then it just gives free reign for Gen G. They pop the Jingle and they start pushing up. And I feel like definitely one of these situations where you regret where your TP ended up, but also just gives free reign for the Jhin.
Yeah.
And I think this is the thing, if you it's hard to lose a fight gracefully when there's a Jhin on the enemy team, because as you're running away, he just pops ult and able to clean up.
You know, as we were saying, the beginning was good, right? So maybe the comms were like, hey guys, we're winning, go, go, go. Like, we got this, all the tanks soak the damage on our team. We can win this. Oh no, Punyan. Oh, not like this. Oh, he doesn't have a splash. And he saves the seismic shove for after he goes for the dash, knowing that he doesn't have flash, and just uses the rocks on the ground to stun him on the dash. As now Punyan 0-3. Unfortunately, not much he can do.
Going back to the last team fight thing, it's just if you look at that ward that Dudu teleport to, there's one like a little south of it that just timed out as I was talking about it. I think if he'd been a bit further away and not TPing into the middle of them, it would have been better, ultimately. As for...
Or he's Mbessa, you can TP into the team. They had a ward in the pit, and then maybe you go in.
That also works. And this... I don't know if we need to see this again.
I would have rather seen the life, door replay, right? The one you were talking about earlier. I don't think we need to see this one.
Well, goodbye.
Yeah.
Now CHOVY got second item with that Sarah's fully stacked. We saw the point where both teams had kind of a lot of their one-item spikes coming through at the same time. This is where Gen G's pulled ahead. You see, everyone has a gold lead across the board. Even Berserker was that one Pearson, who did have a bit of a lead.
11 gold in the lead.
Oh, it's back! But, you know, we're starting to get these two-item spikes come through from the side of Gen G. And the thing is, as much as this is great frontline for DM Freaks, Berserker has a lot of threats he has to cut through, right? He's nearly got his two-item spike, which is obviously big for Ezreal, but even if you know, if let's say, for example, Keen goes super aggressive and trades his life for Berserker, that is winning for Gen G.
Yep.
You know, I feel like Berserker has to kill 2 or 3 people by himself to make the team fight viable, which is just not a great spot to be in.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're playing into a Jhin, which you're not going to access, a Gwen that you can't hit.
Yeah.
It's not
also,
an easy game.
And a Fairy who half the time your Mystic shots just hit a dogs.
Yeah, hit the dogs or she's going untargetable.
Oh,
it's not an easy game for Ezreal, actually.
It really
feels like, you know, maybe if he got very far ahead.
I think the only champion you're kind of vibing into is Talia, because it's hard to get seismic shoved.
Yeah.
Everyone else, it's just a bad time. I mean, I guess Nautilus is okay, but he can't just ult you and you can't even do anything to avoid that, so.
He goes Aftershock, and if you're wasting damage onto that, it just feels bad.
Bit of a sad time.
Yeah.
We do have Lockets coming in for both supports. We've seen a lot of Zeke's pickups recently for supports. I'm not a big fan, you know. I can understand the thought process, and I know it's very popular in solo queue. He does have 100 more health than Locket, but that big shield for your whole team, very strong, you know. A lot of value.
It's more than 100, right?
More than 100, and it can apply to people who maybe have a little bit less health.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get an engage here onto the Nautilus as okay, nice ult comes in, but this is everything into Duro. Will it be worth it is really the question, and he lives. So Duro lives, the wall comes in. They do want to continue this one, it looks like, but Dudu also teleports in and just immediately backs away. As now the flash on over from Duro. He really wanted a bit more. Just getting a little bit excited, perhaps.
Yeah, a lot of Summoner's Burn on the back of that play. Well, actually, I say that. It was 2 flashes. You know, it felt like a lot of Summoners because
it's more than one.
2 flashes. A lot of health bars burn. Berserker got it. Oh, no.
Yeah, well, he's getting ulted, and now he's got to go for the flash away and the arcane shift.
Is 3 a lot? Can I say it now?
Yeah.
A lot of Summoner's Burn on the back of that play. But still a while away for the next dragon, so we'll see the impact of those being unavailable when that next objective comes through.
Vision control here for Talia is very oppressive. You see that Pioshik multiple times has been trying to get, you know, forward vision, just trying to see where the enemy is so they can set up for objectives. It's kind of the precursor for having a chance at team fighting. But CHOVY always seems to be there, and he always seems to be punishing whoever does step up.
Yeah, a lot of control, and you can see those control wards in a kind of triangle around the river. DM Freak's trying to move in now to clear those out. I don't think at the moment they're in a position to contest. You see Juro's actually recalling. He went for some deeper wards. You can actually see just a little bit to the east off the blue buff, there's a couple of deep wards there. No TPs available, so nothing really to play around in that sense, but still gives some deep vision that DM Freaks definitely wouldn't expect.
Well, they really want to make their play here on this Infernal Drake, which we'll see how that does go. DNF aren't that far behind. It's only 3K, but, you know, even some Magic Pen going to come through for CHOVY so he can deal with some of those frontliners a bit better. Alongside of his Leandries is now Life in a rough spot. His ult actually misses everyone. Is going to slow a couple of people, but he's still going to die eventually. Down he goes. A very desperate Sejuani just to try to get out, as now Punyan going to be denied the wall away from the doggy. This cannon does go in. That's a double kill for Keen. And Dudu was on the bottom side as well. He never really got to join the fight. Gen G, just a couple of free kills, and they will get a third Drake for it.
Yep, they just see an angle to go in, able to find targets they can easily take down. Canyon with a little neat outplay, dodging all the Azir's abilities, but it doesn't even feel like there was that much effort needed from Gen G. Oh, does force a flash there with the ultimate, so something to take away from this, but still, third dragon for Gen G, they're now on Soul Point. And I think the game already feels a little bit rough. If they get Soul, yeah,
CHOVY gonna optimize his CSing with a Scuttle Crab take as well.
I mean, Life got the wall up at least, but they were never really in a position to fight, and he's already so low, he kind of just gets cleaned up. You see the ult comes out of Duro from Pioshik, and it's like, cool, whatever, he doesn't really care. Canyon dives in and uses the on-target ability to get away, and then Keen's like, okay, I'll finish it off. And it doesn't feel like anyone in Gen G was really threatened.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't really. Cannon got a little bit low, but that was already after Pungan used everything. So not really going to amount to too much. And Gen Z aren't really rushing this. You know, they haven't overstepped their bounds. CHOVY on top of the XP as well, followed by Keen and his own jungler ahead of the enemy team. So Cannon also doing a pretty good job. Hasn't died yet, he's 007. It's not a very secret agent, though. I think he's very obviously doing a good job.
He's a good dog.
Who's your POG for this game?
Probably just CHOVY.
Just a CHOVY angle?
Yeah, you know, Keen has been fine, but he did get solo killed. Canyon's been fine. Ruler and Duro, I mean, other than dying to the gank, you know,
yeah.
For that, it just feels like everyone's done pretty good on Gen G, but CHOVY's been pretty CHOVY.
Been the cleanest.
Yeah.
Has the highest number.
He does have some big numbers. He would be so octanical right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
He's got a better octagon than anyone else, I think it's clear.
He does, yeah. He's great in the octagon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to set up any MMA with our players just yet. But soon. We do have a wall coming up, a failed engage from Duro, and Gen G just say, we don't really want to do it. We're just going to flash away. And that does a bit of damage. A very low Otacon here. As Piocic looking to try to get this one done. Duro extremely low. He should be going down. He just goes in. Meanwhile, Ruler is zoned away. It's a good fight here for DNF as Cannon in a rough spot as well. But some resets are coming out here. Some withdrawals as Piocic is also going to withdraw. And we do have Ruler on the backside. Just going to hit Pungan with that one. Gets the root down. And Pungan is not very long for this world. Does go for the withdrawal. Dudu not going to get the kill on a Canyon. And Gen G just play for the long game, and they get so much bonus gold on the backside of this fight.
Yeah, even though the Atacon was secured by DM FREECS, Duro with a bit of a misplay that ends up getting punished, it just didn't matter. The fight was so in favor of Gen G. So starting off, Duro goes for this dredge line, little bit of a miss, and then suddenly it's like, wait, they can't just kill me, and I think DM FREECS realized a split second after. And then here, now they've lost a big piece of their frontline presence because Duro's low on HP. So he tries to sort of hold strong but gets bursted down. Piocic does secure the Atacon. But the problem is this tower is still here, so they can't really chase down Ruler and Canyon. If this tower is dead, maybe they just kill them. But Ruler has a prime spot just to back off and pop his ultimate. His ultimate gets, the Azir low, and then he lands that root as well. And it's just clean up from this point onwards. Berserker's trying to do what he can to CHOVY, but unfortunately, just isn't able to do enough. And yeah, it's Atacon, so it's like you're not getting as much gold as you would have killed them outright.
Yeah.
And they're also off the map for less time. That doesn't really matter, you know? It's still really bad for DM FREECS.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, it's a different type of Otacon throw. We've seen a lot of teams start it up from behind or from ahead and just get very low and lose a lot of resistances and then just die on the buff and then give it up. But this was a different kind where they get the buff, it looks like they're winning the fight, and then in the extended trade they lose everyone 5-0. That's never a winning trade.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that, even with the Otacon buff. So now I think, you know, we see some backs coming in. I think DNF, they see the writing on the wall. They say, well, we got to play for this Infernal Drake. Otherwise, we just straight up lose the game, as they will have too much damage. But the Baron is available. We'll see if Gen G gets a little tricky here.
Have just seen IE picked up for Ruler, so he's doing a lot of damage. You know, we have to talk about Jin sometimes not... Oh.
Well, that's a choice Canyon can make. They will be okay.
I think they should have just gone for it, honestly. I mean, we have spectator view, we have more information. But I think he should have just ulted there, if I'm honest. He has no flash as well, so I actually think they could have just killed him.
Maybe showing a little bit too much respect.
Yeah.
This time is a much less good angle.
Yeah, there's a lot more people there.
Yeah, and now we got the root here on a life who's just dying, gets his ult off at least. Meanwhile, we got Berserker knocked up as well. He has to get out of the fight, and it's just 1-by-1. You see DNF trying to run away. That is a very nice wall. It's over the wall! He does get him! him. This Pungan will go down. Looks like Berserk was able to get out of that one just barely. Canyon's still on chase. He still has his ult. Koshik trying to use the disengage cone.
The dogs!
And he will get away just because of a cone that was randomly there.
Yep.
Nice. But it is still Infernal Soul for Genji.
Yeah, I don't think they needed more damage. I don't think they needed more burst, but they've got it. So DM Freaks already struggling quite heavily in this situation, and it's just not going to get better. We'll see on the replay. We talked about that window they had maybe earlier to punish Canyon. Fortunately, they missed it, and life just gets deleted. Kyoshik's health bar just evaporates. We see Dudu trying, but he's kind of just dashing away. Then this was slick from Chovy. He actually did cancel Ruler's ult there. He did cancel Ruler's ult, which is very funny.
I think that's actually worse than him getting in with his wall and getting the kill. I think Ruler's ult is better.
Yes, but here's the thing, right? So if Ruler ults, then who gets the kills?
Ruler.
Whereas if Chovy walls and cancels Ruler's ult...
It's a win-win situation for Chovy.
Yeah, because the thing is, at this point...
They're still winning the game.
DM Freaks look pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
I don't think DM Freaks are winning this game. So now the competition moves from between Genji and DM Freaks to between Genji members, okay?
Genji and the rest of Genji. All comes in, Dudu's just absolutely dead.
He gets it. He picks up the kill.
Yeah,
you know.
It's getting soloed by Keen. Chovy tried to get in there. I think he got an assist.
Try to get in with a kill steal, yeah. So Chovy, he's only 3 kills, you know.
Well, gonna miss the ult here on a Chovy who was just not even gonna flash it. He's like, no, I can dodge this.
He does dodge those.
As Talia. Yeah, no problem. And
He's pretty low in the kill department, though, you know.
This is getting pretty rough, Ox. DNF are kind of getting bullied here.
But again, we've
not even
moved
like a
on.
giant
We've moved on
bull.
from the competition between these two teams.
Yeah.
Now a competition between the players. And right now, again, kill lead massively for Keen, but he did get solo killed earlier, so that takes away some points.
It definitely does.
Chovy is trying to steal kills. I hope to see him cancel Ruler's ult again. If it happens
He's gonna ult backwards just to cancel it next time.
if it happens once, you can brush it off as a mistake.
Yeah.
If it happens twice, though, that's intent. You know, that's purposeful.
I think it was pretty obvious that what he meant by that, you know?
Yeah, I think so. You think Chovy is going to make a mistake like that?
Okay. Well, he's gonna...
There's the wall. Oh, he doesn't cancel his ult.
Oh, no, Pungan. He tries to flash over, he just dies. Stunned on the dash, and now they're without their Azir. And they're just running at them. The double seismic shove, and this time Ruler not able to pick up the kills, finally gets one. And it's Canyon who says, give the POM to me. But actually, it's just Keen who gets the final kill anyway. Hits 8 kills in a row.
This is what happens when Chovy doesn't cancel Ruler's ult, is he actually got a kill. So, you know, maybe Chovy missing a trick there a little bit.
Misuse of the ult, for sure.
Maybe his strategy could have been a little bit better if he wanted to get more kills, because right now he's 3rd, right? Which frankly, kind of slacking.
He does have very high kill participation, though. 15 out of